Welcome to Bitter Reality Brewing. I'm excited. We got a lot of new things going on today. We're going to be brewing a pineapple rye pale ale, or a pineapple pale ale, or a pale ale with pineapple, however you want to say it. I'm actually going to name it. I used to name my beers a lot. Island of Lost Souls Pineapple Pale Ale. Leave the word rye out, but we know we're going to put it in there. Basically, we got 7.5 pounds of pale ale, Golden Promise. So it's a Golden Promise is the actual type of malt. We have half a pound of Crystal 20, or Crystal Malt 20, caramel malt as some people know it. Half pound is Cara pills. I'm gonna slowly ease Cara pills out of my brewing recipes, but I still have a couple pounds and I wanna use it up. Just watching some of the videos about using it and testing it and not seeing what it's advertised to do, definitely wanna just, one less thing to worry about. Got a half a pound of rye, and then throwing in about a quarter pound of acid malt just to keep the pH under control, to check it and see how it's going. The goal here is to get as much pineapple aroma out of the hops and the yeast. So for the yeast, we're actually going to use Omega 200, OYL-200. It's supposed to give off lots of tropical smell, tropical flavor. Definitely takes a little while to get it out of suspension, so I'm not expecting it to be a super clear beer, but I'm okay with that. Flavor is number one. We're gonna, as far as our bittering hops, I'm gonna throw in a whole ounce of Citra Whole hop right in the very beginning, let that go, just to get the bittering up. Our bittering is gonna be a little high, but I'm expecting it to actually not be as high as it's advertising, basically because some of my hops are about a year old and been frozen, so we should be fine. Also, we're putting in at 5 minutes an El Dorado, 1 ounce, and then we're gonna dry hopper Denali and Cahuta. That should give us a lot of pineapple aromatics. The key, and this is what's different, we've got a couple of different things going on today, other than it's the second time brewing with the Anvil, which I'm very excited, much more reliable compared to my previous grandfathers. I've just been burnt out with their reliability issues. Plus, everybody seems to be following these guys. They're all going for the low density heating elements. I saw a couple of them coming out with it. The only key is I still can do 110 to 210 or 220 with this. I have had an electrician come out. We are getting 220. I'm excited. Sadly, it's not done. Amoretti Pineapple. I think every home brewer out there who's dealt with fruits or fruit flavorings or other things like this have added it at different points, either right in the beginning in the boil, during the fermentation, during the secondary. I don't like the artificial flavorings. This is real pineapple flavor with sugar. And when you're putting pineapple, you have the sugar, it's all in there. The difference is this has been added after the fact and they've got a nice concentrated flavor out of the pineapple. We're gonna actually add this after we keg it and chill it down. And this way, because I have 8 ounces of this stuff, I can add 2 ounces at a time or even an ounce at a time and see exactly how much flavor I can get out of it, instead of just dumping the whole bottle in and going, oh my God, it's a pineapple bomb. I don't want a pineapple bomb. I just want a nice, slightly bitter pale ale with a nice flavor, a nice aroma, and a nice, smooth, subtle pineapple flavor. So we're gonna test it out, see how it works. I've never done it at that point. I reached out to Omega Yeast and they basically said, it'll be a race. You need to drink it before it starts fermenting again or ferments. The reason is it'll be about 36 degrees Fahrenheit. And even though that yeast isn't expected to do much at those low temperatures, it's still, according to what they believe, will still sit and munch on some of the sugars. It'll just be incredibly slow. So I think we'll be fine. And I've never done that at that point, other than adding some artificial, which it's just not worth it. The tastes are just not there. We have one other huge exciting thing. And before I pull it up here, I definitely want to give a shout out to Reddit for really helping since we launched the channel. I went out to Reddit, the home brewing group, and a special shout out to Video Is My Life. Thank you very much. But all of the Reddit users in the home brew group were extremely great at giving me really constructive feedback. Huge appreciation, huge appreciation. Some of the best feedback I got, and we're going to be working on sound quality and trying some different microphones. One of the microphones I have here does a great job, but also sometimes does too good of a job and picks up additional sounds. This is the other exciting part today. I don't know if anybody has ever seen Jaded Home Brewing. This is a great thing that comes with the Anvil. It does a great job. I wanted to do something a little faster. My brew days are long anyways, so if I can speed it up, I'm gonna speed it up. I like the stainless steel. It's easier to clean, I feel, than copper. Copper seems to show stains and always makes me feel like I didn't clean it well enough. Do wish I had better hose, which that would be up to me to put a little stronger hose up here because this kind of crimps a little bit. It's the springy thing that comes with Anvil. It's a great chiller. I'm not knocking it in any way, but you know, everybody does something amazing, and if you got what I'm getting ready to pull up with your Anvil, it would cost more, of course. So, Jaded Brewing Scylla. We got it a couple days ago. I haven't even taken it out of the box. Show you how it comes. They spray paint Jaded on each corner, kind of cool. And they pack it extremely well. So you don't have to worry about it showing up damaged, dented. Lots of packing materials, so you can do what you want with them, reuse them, ship something back out to a friend. And then pull it straight out. Sorry about the noise from all the paper. And they bubble wrap it. And I will say, when I ordered it, it took a couple days before they shipped it, and then I got it, but everything went very timely. Shipping was cost effective, wasn't real expensive or anything, and it literally looks like it arrived in perfect condition, which is always awesome. And if you've seen a few of my videos, you know I hate cutting things with scissors and stuff. They're a pain, so the razor blade it is. I will clean this really quick before we take it out there, but this is going to be our chiller today. The Scylla is named after a Greek mythological monster, basically multi-headed, like a hydra. This is 75 feet of copper, according to their site. The difference is, and the key here, compared to this, where as your cold water is hitting it and it starts to come down, it's already hot, it's done. They have 3 tubings at 3 and I believe it's 3/8 of an inch diameter, but basically 3 tubes coming down, so you have 3 hitting it parallel. And those 3 are running whatever your temperature of your water going into it is, which sadly in Florida, it's good when we lose power because I'm not taking totally ice cold showers, but our water comes out of our tap at around 70 degrees. So it is what it is. Sometimes it's 72, sometimes a little warmer. Something to be thankful on one side and frustrated on the other. Supposedly this will chill our wort down in 3.5 minutes to 10 degrees Fahrenheit above whatever our water temperature is. I have a little theory, is that if I put this in there and I had 2 of them and I ran them, one hitting one and you know the hose coming, hitting it, and then hitting this one and putting this in the beer and putting another one like this in a big bucket full of ice, that would probably chill my beer really quick and get it nice and cold. So we'll work with this for now, but down the road, if I get a little creative, we may try getting 2 of these, or this and something slightly different that sits in a nice cooler system, and we can pack it with ice water, let the water hit that, chill it down, and then when it hits this, our beer would get very cold very quickly, or at least cool, which is all we really want. So, very excited. We're going to be outside here in a little bit. It's a little early. It's about 7:30 in the morning. The birds are going to be our background music. I'm good with that. Cater to Mother Nature. Definitely like the animals out there. Hopefully we don't have any mowers, blowers, and anything else that makes loud noises. Had neighbors next door with chainsaws and blowers for a few days, so I hope they're done. Let's do this. Okay, we've hit our strike temp of 148 degrees, which is what I'm looking for, 148 Fahrenheit for anybody on Celsius. Basically, we're gonna mash in, and as you've seen my videos before, I hope, brewing salts, done. We'll give that a nice stir, and we'll start. There we go, that's good enough for now. Put in the mash pipe, which does not have a pipe in the middle, which I love. Wish the handle was different, but that's okay. Set that bad boy in there. Drop the handle over. Okay, I'm going to simply start putting the grains in. Added a little bit of rice hulls in here. The rice hulls, as you can tell, it's a little windy today, will help keep the sparge from sticking or getting stuck, should we say, because I have about a half pound of rye in here, which honestly shouldn't be a big deal, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. It's just the way I am. Okay, once we get this mashed in, we'll continue. Okay, so we finished mashing in. And just a heads up is I'm mashing in at 148 and I'm keeping my strike temp at 148. It goes against a lot of what home brewers are told. If I was doing brew in a bag and I'm putting everything in right away, yeah, I would raise my strike temp a little bit to adjust for the cooler grains hitting it. But as I'm putting the grains in, and I go pretty slow, this thing is showing temps of 150, even though I'm setting it for 148. So, and on the first mash in that we did previously, we literally had about 2 degrees of loss, and that was it. Came right back up, and it actually overshot by about a degree or so. So the thermostat on this thing is at the bottom, which I don't know if it's calibrated to say, hey, here's about what the mid temp would be, because heat rises. So as with all good home brewing, I'm kind of testing and learning the system and trying some things, and I definitely don't want to overshoot, because the higher the temp, the less likely you're going to get those enzymes that you're trying to get. So you want to be in a safe range, and I'm trying to do just that and learning the system. If for some reason I saw the temperature drop drastically the first time we did it, yeah, I would have set my strike temp a little higher and then adjust it for it once it mashed in. But we're ready to go. I'm going to put the plate on. It's a dispersion plate, I guess you call it. Basically, it breaks the water apart so it's not pouring in one spot. This is our little simple, effective. Set that right in there. You take your lid. Okay, here we go. Put this in here. Kick the pump on. Get the water down in there, or wort. There we go. Houston, we have a problem. Okay, we thought we had a problem. Pump didn't come on. Just got a little worried. It helps if you plug the power in. So there it goes. Nice and quiet, but it's working. Okay, we're sitting, it says actual is 146, our temp is 148. So it'll go back up. I'm not worried. It's just the water flowing through, or the wort flowing through. And we'll continue with our mash. This is going to go on for 75 minutes. Then we'll take about 10 minutes to get out of it at 168. And we'll rock on. Time to dump this sparge water over the top. Been sitting on a burner for a while. I've burned myself enough times. I have enough scars. Don't need any more. It's always good to have these type of gloves. They're basically insulated gloves. They are definitely not waterproof, but they will reduce the heat massively. And I can hold this for quite a while. I'm just gonna slowly dump that on top. Slowly. And as you notice, I don't know if it's better to pour it towards myself or away from myself, but I've had it dribble down the backside, so I usually pour it towards myself instead of away, because that's when I usually don't see the water pouring down onto my foot. Pretty sure in one of the videos I burned the top of my foot just a little bit, just enough to feel some pain for a good maybe half hour. Really no way for air to get out of this easily, so it kind of keeps you from pouring it all in right away if you're using the shield on top to kind of displace the water and make sure it drains into the grain bed a little more evenly. Gloves are not real comfortable. More comfortable than burning yourself, but like I said, not real comfortable. Plus they're very bulky and big. Don't know how people up north wear thick gloves when it's freezing cold, places like Chicago and stuff. Okay, this is our 5-minute hop. It's El Dorado. We'll be adding it the last 5 minutes of the boil. And then this is our whole leaf Citra that I got in here. Basically, we're just gonna tie it to the side. Okay, we're gonna wait. We're at 183 degrees. What I've noticed with the Anvil is it does actually heat up pretty quickly with 110 volt, even though I can't wait till we get to 220. It's once you get up around 140, 145, it really slows down at getting that heat, and it's still pretty consistent. It still clicks along, chugs right along, but it does take a little longer, a little more effort to heat up that volume, because you're losing heat constantly off the top, of course. Okay, as you can see, we're at 212 boil, 100%. It's cranking along. It just started, so we're gonna go ahead and actually, knowing that this thing has a habit of falling inside, not my brew paddle, this thing, which is probably a little on the hot side, not too bad. I'm gonna get that out of the way. I've had to chase that and dig that out of there, and I'll pass. Okay, like I said before, treat it kind of like it's tea. Just get it nice and wet. Don't have to. I like to make sure I'm getting it all wet right in the very beginning. Plus it lets me know how far it goes down. Hard to do with your glasses on because of course they fog right up. We're gonna go for about 90 minutes. At the last 5 minutes, once we get down to about where I need to be on the liquid side, last 5 minutes, we're gonna turn around and throw in the El Dorado. And that's when we get to try Scylla and see how well she cools our wort. Okay, we're approaching the last 5 minutes. I just dropped the El Dorado hops. Making this one quick and short as our neighbors all appear to be mowing their lawn. And this is what we just started over here, which it says to mix it in and cool. We're gonna let it sit for a second and I'm gonna dump that in. And one of our last items, of course, it's time to kill the heat. Go here, off. It's not that hot, but the steam is. Steam will burn you just as well as hot liquid will. Just takes a little longer. Okay, it's a very large and very strange looking bug. Very cool bug. Okay, here we go. We're sitting at 212. Water's already on. Full force. There she goes. 200 it says. I'm going to assume that's because it's sitting right next to it. So we're going to turn this open. And we're going to let the pump run liquid to keep the agitation going. And right at 159. I'll be back. I'll let you know. We'll see. Okay, so we're just a hair past 4 minutes. We're not 10 degrees above our water. We should be around 74, 75 as far as our water temp, which means this that's sitting at 102, 101 should be at 84, 85. Am I disappointed? No, not at all. I'm very impressed overall. I mean, come on, I'm down to 100. I've already dropped 112 degrees in a matter of less than a little over 4 minutes. 99. I mean, it's dropping crazy fast. You know, 3.5 minutes is pretty hard, especially if you're not running ice water. I would like to get a second one of these, either the same kind or something very similar. Pack it down with ice and some water so that the chiller itself is sitting close to freezing. Run the tap water, which is at about 74, 75, through that, then through here, and then back out. I'm betting the temperatures would crash and would probably get colder than where I need to pitch my yeast, so I would let it have to sit a little bit for room temp. If I wasn't paying attention, of course, which, that happens. You don't think it's going to happen? Trust me, it happens. We all get a little bored or distracted by the cool bug that went flying by that looked like it had eyes on its back. We're going to move it into one of our carboys, the plastic one, measure it out, bring it in, get our yeast ready, pitch our yeast, and call it a day. That made my life so much better. It's so much faster. Okay, I'm declaring this a successful brew day. Very happy. Probably a world record for me as far as doing a 5-gallon batch and being done early. We hit 1.046, which put us right at 5.4 ABV estimated. It also gave us a 74.4% brew efficiency, which was awesome. Very, very excited. Very impressed. Jaded Brewing, the Scylla. Did we get it done in 3.5 minutes? No. But was it a failure? Definitely not. A couple things. One, they asked you to run a short hose. My hose is pretty long. Number two, the hose was sitting out in indirect light, so it was pretty warm. I'm thinking that the water going in initially was warm, so that's probably a good 15, 20 seconds, maybe 30 seconds worth of warm water. That wasn't that cold, probably sitting closer to 90, 95, maybe even 100 degrees because it has been about 85 degrees outside. If not, it feels a lot hotter. They're out of Zurich. Can't remember exactly, but something in Illinois. Jaded Brewing, being in Illinois, I guarantee their water is a lot cooler than the water here in Florida. Maybe they were a little over anticipating, but honestly, we will run another test and we'll run the water through the Scylla for maybe a good 30 seconds, 45 seconds before we put it in. That way we give it a better chance, make sure the water's coming through at whatever the consistent temperature we get out of our tap, which sadly here in Florida is, like I said, it ranges throughout the year, but right now I was measuring 74, 75 degrees based on where I was measuring it. And if you're putting in 60, 50 degree tap water because you live up north or in Alaska or something, it's going to drop that temperature insanely fast. We still finished, I want to say, what was it, just a hair over 5-6 minutes. And then when I actually took temperatures, it was actually a little lower than what the Anvil was saying it was by significant, about 6 degrees difference. It didn't still do it in 3.5 minutes, but it did a great job. I still am very impressed. I still would like to have 2 of them or something different like this. Run the water into a, like I said, an ice bath, and then run it through here and out. I would probably be done in 2 minutes, maybe to 3.5 minutes if it's a really hot day here in Florida. Okay, we're gonna drop the Omega yeast in here. It's Omega 200, which is a fruity type yeast. Should allow for us to even get more of those esters that we're looking for with the pineapple. Smells kind of tropical, kind of fruity. I get a little citrus in there too though. My little trick with a magnet, it's a little stir piece down in there. Shake it up a little bit. And I've got a little bit more than double what I normally pitch here, so I'm only pitching about half of this. I'll take a little reading here. And yes, I use mason jars. I don't buy all those fancy beakers. I'm not going to say it's a waste of money, but for me, it's a waste of money. I don't need to spend that kind of money on those kind of things, not to mention knowing them a bit of a klutz from time to time. I would have a high potential of breaking them. And to me, that would be a huge waste of money at that point. Okay, that's it. I'm going to aerate it, put the cap on, put it in the fermenter, see if I can't get it down to maybe 66 Fahrenheit, and then let it ramp up closer to 70. And we'll put a tilt hydrometer in here so we can kind of keep an eye on it. And once it's done, we'll move it, of course, to a keg, dry hop it, and as status quo, it'll go to the keezer and we'll rock on. Thank you again. Don't forget, hit like, subscribe, or give us a comment if you got any questions, concerns, or whatever it may be. Thank you again for joining Bitter Reality Brewing.